Ladies and gents, welcome to another Punk Politics. I am your host, Aid Thompson. Insanity is repeating the same process again and again and expecting a different result, said Albert Einstein. Nobody listened, so he said it again. Now, I like that little quip. That is from a Victoria Coren article from back in the day. Then, it was probably relevant in terms of mocking David Cameron's successive attempts to modernise the Tories and unify Britain, which I think we can all agree he was successively unsuccessful at. But it remains a go-to prism through which we can look at today's Bank of England. Because today, on Thursday the 3rd of August 2023, they're rumoured to be hiking interest rates for the 14th time in a row. 14 times! And it's done nothing to curb inflation. You know, it's like, well, guys, we've got to do something. Inflation's getting out of control. I mean, food has gone up by 20% in the first quarter alone. We've got to do... Oh, wait! Of course! What is it, Hugo? What are you thinking? I think you know, Hector. Yeah, we should nationalise utilities and introduce mortgage price caps to stop the banks rooting the country. God, no, Hector. We'll just raise interest rates again. But I don't understand. I mean, we tried that 13 times already and it did absolutely nothing. Oh, yeah, but I'm positive it'll work this time. Well, righto. Lucky number 14, I guess. Pull the lever, Barnaby. Just a housing market explodes. And then cut to some exhausted dad walking into a high street bank to sort his remortgage. And he would be like, yeah, I'm here to remortgage. I was on 2.1% before, interest only. That was about £425 a month. I guess it would have gone up to 600 or 700 now. Right, actually, it's gone up to just under £2,000 a month, Mr. Thompson. £2,000! Well, yeah. I mean, you had your fun with a decade of low interest rates, didn't you? Right, so that was the party. Now's the hangover. Right, I mean, it didn't feel like a party. Well, then it's just one long hangover, isn't it? Anyway, them's the breaks. That's capitalism. Thanks for playing. Now give me your money. Right, I mean, I still don't understand. Like, it says here that you're a family bank and you look after your customers. Right, yeah. I think that's last year's pamphlet. I think I've got this year's one here somewhere. Yeah, no. Here you go. Go yourself. I'm cutting out your kidneys while you're reading this. What the Yeah, give me your kidneys, you filthy plebby poffer. So yeah, 14th time today. Like, can you think of anything else that's been attempted 13 times, achieved the same or mixed results, and then the people behind it just go, yeah, we should try repeating that success. More of that, lads. This isn't working, but this is working. Like, can you? Can you think of anything else completely ineffective that's been repeated this insufferably 14 times? I mean, apart from the Fast and Furious sequels, you know? Like, we get it, guys! Broom, broom, fast cars, great. Like, they announced the 13th sequel is coming out. Everyone gives it the same reaction as you'd give a fart in a 30-floor lift. You know, like, oh, God. Like, those movies are so bad and so repetitive that when Paul Walker died, most of us were like, okay, look, I'm sad for his family, but on the bright side. But yeah, lo and behold, they greenlight another 4 using CGI and AI and robot audio, probably. And now what? Like, every autumn, every fall, another posthumous Paul Walker effort. Like the shits of Tupac Shakur album. Anyway, duly taking the baton of Bellendry from Hollywood producers is the Bank of England, who are hiking interest rates once again, and by proxy are showcasing a steadfast commitment to repeating themselves again and again and expecting a different result, hoping this time, guys, interest rates might bring down inflation. Like, I don't want to get all anti-AI with the Paul Walker thing a minute ago. Like, with music and movies, I'm not really a fan of when they, try to reconstruct, like, all of that stuff. But I think with the Bank of England, maybe if we introduced machine learning and algorithms and stuff and we funneled some of our problems into it, maybe what we might get out is something more closely resembling a sane and coherent monetary policy. Maybe. Maybe there's a place for AI at the Bank of England. That's food for thought. If not, my family. We've got to hike rates to bring down inflation. Like, that's the theory, isn't it? Is that if you hike interest rates, if you make people's mortgages so expensive that they don't really have an awful lot of disposable income to spend on other products and services, then those other things are forced to come down in price, and that evens out inflation. But that only works in the scenario where the other things have become so expensive because they can't be manufactured quickly enough, they can't keep up with demand, and so then the manufacturers hike the prices of the products. You know, that is when I could understand, or I could see that making rents or mortgages more expensive might kind of contribute something. You know, like if toothpaste cannot keep up with demand, if there's not enough toothpaste for the number of human beings who want to brush their teeth, then two things happen. One, Shane McGowan. And two, the retailers or manufacturers can add another quid onto the cost of toothpaste and people will still buy it. And they do that because they're like, well, gotta get this loot. So the cost of the toothpaste gets dearer. Then if everyone's got the cash to be able to pay for that, i.e. everyone's got too much money, the Bank of England look at this on a domestic British economic level and they go, oh, it's all getting a little bit out of hand with these British toothpaste manufacturers and these British salaries. Things are just getting too expensive too quickly. So then to manage it, you've got a couple of levers that you can pull. You can either increase taxes, and then that will take away people's disposable income, but they can't do that because we are already at a colossal tax burden, or you hike interest rates. So all of that makes sense. These are the levers you can pull to manage inflation in a domestic British setting. I don't know why I'm pretending to ski, but the problem is this bout of inflation isn't coming from British manufacturers and product shortages and British workers having too much money. Like, I don't know how flush you're feeling, but me? I'm about to tuck into a lovely stinging nettle sandwich and my dessert will be half a hedgehog I found in the garden. So no, typically people don't have too much money right now. People are fucking broke. This inflation is coming from the international market, not British manufacturers, but European gas producers. The cost of gas on a macro level is making the cost of running a business down the road more expensive. It's skyrocketing. And why is it doing that? Because the Tories had a decision a couple of years ago with gas prices. They could all let it run riot and make their donors a few quid, or they could protect the economy, protect us, the country they're elected to run and protect, and implement something resembling a price cap. But do you recall which one of those they actually went for? When faced with either responsible government or ideological free market capitalism to the cost of everybody else. Yeah, the Tories didn't want to properly price cap it. And I'll tell you why. Because if they had, that would have meant that the energy corporations would have had to have taken the hit. They would have had to have absorbed the price spikes. Most of them would have folded. Some of them already did. And that would have meant nationalisation, which would have gone against the Tory doctrine. So what happened? Like, in the absence of an effective price cap, in the absence of an effective windfall tax that would have scooped up a few billion and handed it to the small businesses to cushion the blow of the price spikes and allow them to not have to continue to hike up their own prices, what happened to the country, to the economy, to you and me? Well, basically, in the ghostly, silent abyss, in the vacuous black hole of government, businesses took those body shots and passed their bills on to their customers. That is where this whole inflation started from. This isn't fucking rocket science. And then as inflation becomes the reality, a few weeks later, then you got the Bank of England going, well, it's inflation, right? I see that. I recognize that. It is inflation. And what do we do with inflation again? Oh, that's right. We hike interest rates. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry, because it's not all bad news. Some of it is even worse. Because some of you might be thinking, well, it's a bit of inflation here, but then eventually it will come down and prices will become sane again. But those higher prices have now just bedded in. It's just how things are now. They're unlikely to go back down. And because everything from supermarkets to their petrol stations to your barber to retail units who rent them off a landlord with a mortgage, because everyone's bills are increasing, it now feels like every time they hike the interest rates again, then your Paddy Power or the Pound Shop or Costa Coffee or the Off License, a subset of them look at their new rental agreement and they go, oh, I guess I'm going to have to increase my prices again. And so inflation stays steady at somewhere around 10%. And then again, what happens a month or two later when the Bank of England are looking at inflation? Oh, inflation's about 9%. I guess we better hike interest rates again, lads. They're like a dog chasing its tail. I don't understand why the inflation's not coming down. Now, don't get me wrong, right? I don't know what we should be doing. I'm not an economist, but it seems to me that if they keep hiking interest rates, this problem is just going to continue. We will stagnate. And if you want to bring down inflation, you basically have to nationalise utilities or price cap mortgages at the high street bank level. I mean, HSBC and NatWest, they're announcing billions of pounds in profit. Can they not take some of the hit with this?
Oh, careful. They'll shut your bank account for that one, won't they?
All right. Now, nationalising energy at this point would probably cost somewhere around £100 billion. And I know that we don't have that money. And if we magicked it out of thin air, you would risk destabilising the currency. And then you could get in all manner of problems with pensions and bonds and borrowing and import-export costs. I don't envy anyone who's in a position where they have to make these kinds of decisions. But I guess all I am saying is this. We are the 6th largest economy in the world. We're constantly told that we're in growth, that we can boom as global Britain, that we signed all manner of trade deals, that Britain could prosper mightily. Let the British lion roar. So how can it be right that in the 6th largest economy in the world, you have a subset of the population that are shortly going to be propelled into living in their cars and tents? That the bare essentials of modern life, food, energy, keeping warm, a roof over your head, are just getting further and further out of reach for regular people. But most importantly, if you didn't enjoy this video, if it wasn't uplifting or satirical enough for you, don't blame me, okay? I died 4 years ago. This is just my Hollywood AI posthumous Paul Walker effort.